o'clock. Can I remind councillors and all those that are in the chamber that your image and what you say may be broadcast live to the public. So please be mindful of your actions and your comments. You should avoid making statements that might defame or offend, and are advised the recording of this meeting will be retained online and in council's archives. Please turn off your mobile phones or switch them to silent. Filming and photography are not permitted in the chamber. Anyone observed to be filming the meeting may be asked to leave. I would like to remind councillors to turn their microphones on before speaking and off again when no longer addressing council. And I should say, as people will probably know, I'm the Deputy Mayor. The Mayor is overseas and asked me to chair this meeting on his behalf. So I'll now declare the extraordinary meeting open at 4:01 and a warm welcome to everyone here tonight. I now do acknowledgement of country. We acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we live, work and play. We pay our respects to Darkinjung country and elders past and present. We recognise the continued connection to these lands and waterways and extend this acknowledgement to the homelands and stories of those who call this place home. We recognise our future leaders and the shared responsibility to care for and protect our place and people. A request was received by Mayor McKenna, Councillor Neal, Councillor Lamont and Councillor McGregor to attend this meeting by audio-visual link in accordance with clause 6.21 of the Code of Meeting Practice. I note that in accordance with clause 6.24 of the Code of Meeting Practice, Councillors McKenna, Neal, Lamont and McGregor are entitled to vote on this item. So I'll now move that Council approves the request by Mayor Laurie McKenna to attend the extraordinary council meeting on 6th May 2025 at 4 p.m. by audio-visual link, as he is unable to attend in person due to his current location. He approves the request by Councillor Belinda Neal to attend the extraordinary council meeting on 6 May 2025 at 4 p.m. by audio-visual link, as she is unable to attend in person due to her current location. Approves the request by Councillor Corinne Lamont to attend the extraordinary council meeting on 6 May 2025 at 4 p.m. by audio-visual link, as she is unable to attend in person due to her current location. Approves the request by Councillor Kyle McGregor to attend the extraordinary council meeting on 6 May 2025 at 4 p.m. by audio-visual link, as he is unable to attend in person due to his current location. Seconded by Councillor McNamara. Is there any debate on that? If not, I'll put it. All those in favour, please raise your hand. And that's carried unanimously. Thank you. I will now ask each councillor to disclose any conflict of interest they may have in item on tonight's agenda. I confirm that I have no disclosure to make. Councillor Merland?
No interest, Mr Mayor.
Councillor Daniels?
Nothing to declare.
Councillor Castles?
Nothing to declare.
Councillor Crowley? Thank you. Councillor Walsh?
Nothing to declare.
Councillor Smith?
Nothing to declare.
Councillor Stanton?
Nothing to declare.
Councillor Wright?
Nothing to declare, Mr Acting Mayor.
Councillor McNamara?
Nothing to declare.
Councillor McQuaid?
Nothing to declare.
Councillor Lamont? Councillor Lamont?
Nothing to.
Thank you. Councillor McKenna?
Nothing to declare.
Councillor McGregor?
Nothing to declare.
Thank you. And Councillor Neal? We can't hear you, Councillor Neal. No, I still can't hear you. Maybe a shake of the head and I'll take that as a no. All right, well, there's been no declaration, so she's disappeared off screen now.
Mr Deputy Mayor, could I just ask a point of clarification? I note part 3 of the motion that we will see is to deal with development applications. Can I just ask for some clarification about where those development applications go? Do they go to the local planning panel or the Hunter Central Coast Regional Planning Panel? Where would they be considered?
Councillor Smith, you're welcome to ask the question, but we've got to get the motion before you can ask the question.
Okay, fair enough, Mr. Deputy Mayor. Thank you.
And-
If I could just flag that for the staff, please, when we get to that.
Happy to take the question then. And I can't see. I did ask for some photos of the current erosion issues to be displayed. So if they could come up. Yep, about to get to that. All right. So I now there's been notice of motion given by councillors Daniel and McQuaid. I'll invite. Oh, thank you. Yes, Councillor Neal. She needs. I still can't hear you. Yeah, you're muted. You're muted. We can't hear you.
I have no conflict of interest to declare, and I also have an amendment in relation to the motion that has been circulated by yourself, I assume, on the instructions of Councillor McQuaid and Daniels.
Thank you. We haven't quite got the motion up yet, but obviously you're entitled to move an amendment as, once that's happened. So can I have Councillor Daniels, are you moving it or Councillor McQuaid moving it? It's moved by Councillor McQuaid. Councillor Daniels, you're seconding it? Okay. So please, Councillor McQuaid, you have 5 minutes to speak to your motion.
Yeah, thank you, acting mayor. Firstly, it's been a lot of hard work these last few days, and I acknowledge the hard work of the staff, the executive, and also to their fellow councillors. Takes a lot of time and effort to have meetings and briefings and get to here, and I really appreciate it. Thank you to David Meehan and Adam Crouch to showing leadership and interest in this issue. We've come up with this motion today after a lot of hard work and back and forth, which in my opinion reflects good governance. The motion calls on the Premier, as you can see, to declare a state of emergency due to severe erosion, which poses significant and widespread and ongoing risk to lives and property. Our motion asks that the state government to declare this by 3 p.m. on this Friday, the 9th of May, and in the event that this doesn't occur, we wish to convene another extraordinary meeting next Tuesday, the 13th of May, to receive a report from Council outlining appropriate actions. We as a Council are a small player in somewhat large and serious issue. However, we can play an important and active leadership role in this issue, and I urge all governments on all levels to work together with this, and I look forward to hearing from the Premier. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Daniels?
Yeah, I just wanted to speak in favour of the motion. For me personally, I went down to Womberl recently and had a look at the damage myself. And I think when you see it yourself personally, you realise how much of a risk is there, both to the homes but also to the general public. And I can't stand in good conscience and do nothing. So I feel that we really do need to work together to come up with a plan to help all of the people of Central Coast to feel safe.
Thank you. Councillor Smith?
Mr. Deputy Mayor, could I now get some clarification about my earlier question, please? The process for any development applications that would be relevant to part 3 of this motion.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, all development applications would need to go to the regional planning panel.
So, sorry, that's the regional panel where we have councillor representation on that panel?
Yes, that's correct. The regional planning
Mr.
panel.
Deputy Mayor, which councillors are on that panel? Could you assist, please?
I'm on it. Councillor Stanton's on it, and Councillor Wright is an alternate. I think Councillor McGregor is an alternate. I'm not sure. I think there might be one other alternate.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Deputy Mayor. It certainly raises some questions in my mind, but obviously not in yours.
Thank you. Any other speakers? Councillor?
Yep.
Sorry, Councillor Mont, is it? Thank you. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out where the call's coming from. Yes, Councillor Mont, you've got the call.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I have a couple of questions to ask first before I actually speak against it. But I would like to know, through you, Deputy Mayor, how many properties are actually at risk as we speak?
Well, I would think, I don't know the answer, Councillor Mont, but my estimation is at least 100.
No, I'm actually asking, yesterday, I believe we were told as councillors that there were 3 properties at risk. 1 at Wamburrel and 2 at the north entrance. Is that correct? Can someone, council staff, confirm that through you, Mr. Mayor?
They're the ones at immediate risk. That wasn't your question, Councillor Mont. Yes,
Well,
certainly. Mr. Skolkowski can try and answer the question.
Through you,
Mr. Acting Mayor, I believe Councillor Lamont may be referring to properties which have been identified as being at specific risk due to inappropriate piling at the 2 locations during a coastal erosion event. There may be other considerations as to what level of risk those or other properties are at beyond that.
Thank you, Mr. Skolkowski. If I can continue, through you, Mr. Deputy Mayor, can we confirm with Council, the CEO, that we as councillors were provided legal advice regarding this last night?
Yeah, last night there was a confidential briefing held for a couple of hours where council was briefed on its legal options and the legal ramifications of any decision. I think most, if not all, councillors were there and participated in that.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Farmer. If I can continue now with my opposition to this motion. I can't support this motion in its current form, not because I don't care about the people affected, but because the advice we councillors have received is that this proposal is legally reckless and strategically short-sighted. And I'm not prepared to transfer the risk onto the entire community. So acting for the 350,000 people on the Central Coast is exactly what I'm considering first and foremost with my vote, informed by the information provided to councillors by council last night. Going on the advice we received, I'll cover some of the facts. Council has no authority to demand a state of emergency. That rests with the Premier and relevant emergency authorities under strict criteria. And if it's not called, we can't call it. If Leocon or the Reconstruction New South Wales haven't declared an emergency, we cannot invent a shortcut. Second, allowing unrestricted contractors, if this is where this is going eventually, access to public land, including beaches, is a serious legal environment risk. We would be opening council up to legal liability and undermining protections under the Coastal Management Act and environment planning instruments. So the proposed amnesty, which was originally suggested and we might eventually see for unregulated works on private property, is dangerous. It throws out all planning environmental controls out the window. Imagine the chaos of unimproved seawalls, damage to public land, risks to neighbouring properties. We've already seen how ad hoc coastal erosion works accelerate erosion to someone else and somewhere else. This is not how you manage a coastline. But councillors, let's be real. The bigger emergency is not erosion today. It's years of failed coastal management that brought us here. For the last 5 years, council has been working with beachfront homeowners on a seawall. Where is it? Still nowhere close to approval. Doesn't that tell you something? Maybe it's the wrong solution to keep pouring all our resources into. Maybe it's time to have a rethink. And yesterday we saw beachfront homeowners crying out on social media, where is the sand? Where are the rocks? Yet last week, those same voices were pleading with councillors not to support my offshore stand nourishment motion. There's a real obvious disconnect here. Meanwhile, parts of the northern coast, like the Entrance North, haven't had a certified management program, not once. If this is such an emergency, why haven't we done the strategic planning work? And if we're talking about emergencies, why aren't we talking about the flooding to communities around Tuggerah Lakes? Why aren't councillors demanding that flooding around Tuggerah Lakes is not declared as an emergency as well? Why aren't we demanding urgent action on dredging, entrance management, or stormwater infrastructure? Shame on us not even mentioning it last week at the meeting. Shame if we only act if it's beachfront homeowners under threat but stay silent when entire lake communities are underwater. The real question we should be asking is, why does this keep happening? Why is this council consistently getting it wrong with coastal management? That is the true emergency that we're facing. The emergency action taken by the former New South Wales government in 2020 is still causing impacts today. Let's not do it again. Let's stop reacting with this knee-jerk motion. Let's fix what we're getting wrong with strategy, equity, and with leadership that serves the whole community. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Lamont. Councillor McGregor, I think you've got your hand up, so please, this is your opportunity.
Thank you, Chairman Eaton. I seek to move an amendment. That amendment would be to delete point 1 and point 3 in their entirety, to maintain point 2, but make that point 1, and then to add a new point 2.
Sorry, Councillor McGregor, that will be a direct negative of the motion. You can move it as a foreshadowed.
Mr Deputy Mayor, could we hear what it might be, as you may wish to incorporate it into
we're happy to
your
do,
motion,
happy to do that. Yes,
even
continue.
if your decision is...
I didn't mean to cut you off, Councillor McGregor. I just said it can't be an amendment.
Okay, well, I'll foreshadow an amendment, if that's your ruling, to delete point 1 and point 3 in their entirety, and to make point 2 point 1. And then to add a new point 2, requesting an urgent meeting with the Premier, relevant state ministers, the Mayor, the CEO, and interested councillors, no later than 2 weeks from this date, to resolve this issue, or to make progress on this issue, to address this issue. Say address. My apologies for not submitting the amendment in writing earlier, but I was in my car, so can't text and drive. Do you wish me to speak to this, or do you want me to wait?
No, speak to it now. It's fine. Well, you're speaking against the motion, but that's fine.
So I'll speak against the motion and in favour of the foreshadow. Councillors, I request that you do support the foreshadow rather than what has been put here. The wording that we have seen as the initial motion was provided as late to myself and other councillors as approximately about a half an hour ago. The original wording that was put up, which necessitated this meeting, was ruled unlawful by the CEO and necessitated a confidential legal briefing. Though, without revealing the contents of that legal briefing, one can imagine that the discussions that were held last night for numerous hours resulted in my amendment. My amendment is not acknowledging the issues that are happening at the entrance, Wombrel, or anywhere on the Central Coast or up and down the seaboard, but it's about the process. Now, councillors, I believe that all 15 of us want to do whatever we can to make this issue better and to look after our residents, whether they're coastal or inland. And it's my personal understanding from the legal advice we've received, discussions with my colleagues and people in the community, that the best way to go about this is to rely on the expert advice of the staff, the lawyers, and to get the people who can make the real decisions in the room. Let's get them out there to North Entrance and let's get them to make a decision about it. We don't need to have an argument about declaring status, this emergency and things like that, simply because that's for the Premier to do, councillors. What would be more useful is to get the Premier and the ministers out there, show them the issue and try and work with the people who can immediately make some move on this. I understand that some people may say, oh, you're trying to delay, you're waiting for a week for the staff report, you're waiting 2 weeks to get the Premier out there. Well, councillors, I'd rather see us do this properly than make decisions on the run, particularly ones that may run counter to formal legal advice that has been provided to the councillors. Councillors cannot act unlawfully. Anything which has strategic risk or long-term financial risk, it does concern me. There are planning pathways and approval processes that need to be followed. We don't create the laws, we don't create the policy framework that dictates and governs how these things are, but we must abide by them. So councillors, I understand this is an emotive issue. Different people have different points of view, but ultimately it's not going to be the 15 of us putting up a motion which is beyond our scope and capacity to determine. That's why I've designed the foreshadow. And rather than us putting out, inflammatory statements or slogans that sound good, let's just solve the issues, let's fix the problem, let's work with the people who can make the determinations to try and get the best outcome for all of our community right across the Central Coast. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor McGregor. Councillor Neal.
Yes, I'd like to formally move an amendment to the current motion. Can that be put back on the board, because I don't have a copy of it? It was never sent to me.
Sure, we can scroll down.
I can only see it from what's...
Mr Deputy Mayor, can we
you.
just get some clarification about the meeting procedure here? Could I just seek advice through you to the CEO about how Councillor McGregor's items are a direct negative of the existing motion?
That's my ruling, Councillor Smith.
Yeah, could I get some
for the
clarification?
CEO. It's my ruling as the chair.
Could I get some
No.
advice? Then
No,
perhaps,
Councillor Smith,
Councillor,
you are
Mr.
going to be ruled
Deputy,
out of order in a minute.
That's all right. Can you explain then how it's a direct negative?
Yes, one calls for the council to do something, the other one says don't do it. So it's a direct negative.
All amendments put forward a different...
Councillor
to
Smith,
a
I've made
motion.
my ruling. You can move a motion of dissent if you wish.
I think it's obvious, Mr. Deputy Mayor. I don't need to move it.
Thank you. Councillor Neal.
Can you, sorry, just to continue with my request. Sorry, I've got the motion now.
I can't hear you very well, Councillor Neal. Sorry.
It's a bit hard. Is that better?
Thank you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
Good. I'd like to move an amendment to the motion that's before us. I assume it's moved by Councillor McWade and Daniels. I haven't received any notification from them directly, but I've only received a slightly different copy from yourself. But I'd like to amend as follows. Item 1, add to that before the full stop, where the declaration is recommended by the local Emergency Services Committee in accordance with long-standing protocol and respect for the emergency staff that act on behalf of the Central Coast. And also a amendment to no amendment 3, amend it to remove and calls on the state government, and replace with that council prepare. So it should read that is impractical in a coastal erosion emergency for affected owners to submit DAs for approval or even temporary emergency works due to the statutory obligation and timeframes, and that council prepare, remove to develop rapid approval frameworks to cater for residents in such situations. I think, sorry, one more word change to submit, after submit, insert in the usual way, or with the usual timings, with the usual timing, comma, development applications, and of course.
Is that it, Councillor Neal?
Councillor, yes, sorry, just reading it through to make sure it actually reads properly. Yes, those are my amendments. I think that
Sorry, Councillor Neal. I think.
speak to that amendment.
Can you just wait a minute? I'm going to seek a ruling for the general manager because I think number 3 is cannot be performed by council. That there is no. I don't think there is any procedure for council to do any of those, do such work. But I'll seek guidance from the general manager.
No, not the works.
No, not the works, but development applications have got to go.
I think I need to explain it to you if you seem to be misunderstanding the effect of the amendment.
No.
The effect of the amendment
I understand, Councillor Neal. I'm sorry. The issue is that council can't do rapid approval frameworks. Only the state can do it, in my opinion. But I'm happy to get advice from the staff.
Through
Well,
you,
it really depends on the priorities.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, your council must undertake the DA process in accordance with New South Wales legislation. And at the moment, all DAs for coastal protection works are required to go to the regional planning panel. We can't change that process without an amendment to state legislation.
I'm not suggesting we change the process. I'm suggesting that we have a process that is expedited. So the same steps happen, but we actually do them more quickly and with higher priority than we presently do. So that's why I think it was important that I explain my amendment rather than have it misinterpreted by the chair. I mean, at the moment, the main delay in having matters dealt with by the regional panel is the fact that the council prepares reports to go to them in order to allow them to evaluate the DA. So essentially the process of the council delay the processing of those applications. What I'm seeking to do here by this amendment is to ensure that council has processes in place that ensure it's done as quickly as possible, so that the regional panel can deal with them quickly. And I would suggest that it's probably possible, if prioritised appropriately, that the reports could come to the regional planning panel much more quickly than they presently do.
Thank you, Councillor Neal. Now I'm going to rule that that's not an amendment. Again, it's quite a significant change to the original motion. So again, you can move that as a foreshadowed motion in the fullness of time.
No. What I'll do is I'll move dissent in the chair.
Okay. Go ahead.
I move dissent in the chair on the basis that it is not a contradiction and is not a breach of the code of conduct. I know that it's very exciting being in the chair, and this is your first opportunity for quite some time, but you still do have to comply with the code of conduct. This is not a direct contradiction. It's not just a matter that the amendment is different from the original motion. Clearly, every amendment is different from the original motion, but in this case, it is merely complements and ensures that the effect of the motion is recognised, but it practically can occur. The present motion cannot occur. The idea that the Premier can declare a state of emergency...
Sorry, Councillor Neal, you've got to speak to the notion of dissent. You've strayed off.
I am.
No, you're not.
I'm explaining why your ruling is incorrect. That my amendment is not a contradiction of the original motion, but ensures minor amendments to ensure it can actually take place. At the moment, the present motion is ineffectual. There is an extremely big problem happening at the moment that we're all aware of and all concerned about.
Councillor Neal, you're off subject again. You must stick to the reason for my ruling is incorrect.
I'm explaining why your ruling is incorrect and why your understanding of the motion is incorrect, because this is a minor amendment that gives effect to the true meaning of the motion, because the present motion as it's framed is ineffectual and cannot be implemented, because the Premier does not in a vacuum declare a state of emergency. He does so on the recommendation of the Emergency Local Committee and also has to comply with the legislation. He can't willy-nilly declare a state of emergency just because there is some fast meeting or an emergency meeting called where the councillors really haven't had a proper opportunity to consider things. he has to comply with the legislation and he has to rely on the advice of his local committee. To do so would be a breach of the protocols and the respect that the Premier has for these emergency committees that have been probably for, I wouldn't say 100 years, but certainly decades. And you can imagine what difficulty it would be created
Again,
if the
Councillor Neal,
Premier
you are not
declared a
talking to
state of
your motion of
emergency.
dissent. I'm going to rule you out of order now, and I'll reply to your argument for the note of dissent. I accept that item 1 is the change to that would probably be an amendment. It's item 3 that you've run into trouble with, because item 3 in the motion talks about the state government being called on to do something, and your proposal is for the council to do something that it constitutionally can't do anyhow. So that's the reason that I'm calling it, ruling it that it's not an amendment. And of course you can.
That's
Councillor Neal,
you can rule it
I
out
will
of
switch
order.
you off.
Really? Switch me off.
I can indeed switch you off. And I will.
You're getting
Stop
paid
interrupting.
for one moment
Stop
of
interrupting
being
me.
the chair.
So I'll now put Councillor Neal's.
So can I just clarify your ruling?
No.
So what you're saying is
Councillor,
you've now changed your ruling. Can I clarify your ruling?
Councillor Neal, you will
You've now
cease and desist
originally-
now.
Cease and desist.
Can you clarify your ruling? I don't you've said made two different rulings. Which one is the one you're making?
Can I get it switched off?
Deputy Mayor, I've had my hand up.
Korea, from Korea.
Yeah, well, I'm going to put the motion of dissent, but I kept getting interrupted. I'm happy to put the motion of dissent. So the motion is, yes, the motion is Councillor Neal's motion of dissent in my ruling. If it is passed by the council, then her proposal will be an amendment. If it is lost, then her proposal stays as a foreshadowed. So those.
No, only for number 3. Only for number 3. You need to clarify that, because my understanding of
No, you've moved it as one motion. Councillor Neal, I really will go down the act of disorder with you, and you will be kicked out of the meeting. Stop interrupting the chair. Thank you. No, there's nothing on motion of dissent. The only speakers on a motion of dissent are the mover and the chair. So I will now put the motion of dissent. Those in favour of the dissent in my ruling, that it's a it should be a foreshadow, not an amendment, please raise your please raise your hand.
In favour of dissent. It's confusing what you're asking.
Yes, okay. If you support Councillor Neal, then you vote for her motion of dissent.
No. I don't
So
think
those
that's
in
the appropriate
favour,
motion, but I'm sure
please,
you know better.
so I can call you out. So Councillor Castles, Councillor Crowley, Councillor Walsh, Councillor Smith, Councillor Lamont, Councillor McGregor and Councillor Neal. Those against, Councillor Eaton, Councillor Whirling, Councillor Daniels, Councillor Stanton, Councillor Wright, Councillor McNara, Councillor McQuaid, Councillor McKenna. The motion of dissent is lost, so that motion will stay as a...
Can I just...
No, Councillor Neal. Where's the
There is a point of order, a further point of order.
Yes, hang on, I need to declare the motion. Councillor Neal, just wait a second and then I'll hear you. I declare the motion lost. So thank you, Councillor Neal. What's your point of order?
The point of order is the Code of Conduct specifies that the motion to be put to the meeting in the circumstances is that the chair's ruling be upheld. That being the case, that your ruling has been refused by the meeting and my amendment is an amendment, it should be taken as such.
So I've made my ruling. Thank you. So where are we? I've got confused now. Well done, Councillor Neal.
Can I
No.
possibly...
What?
I just have an amendment that I'd like to suggest.
Councillor Walsh, I think, has got her light on.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I actually would like to suggest a minor change to Councillor McGregor's foreshadowed motion. I'm just looking. Thank you. I can see it now. Sorry, can we have Councillor
McGregor's foreshadow motion,
Yep.
please. Yes, where it's, if we can have it say relevant state ministers, the mayor say relevant state ministers and relevant federal representatives, federal government representatives as well.
Councillor McGregor, are you happy to accept that into your foreshadowed?
As long as it says federal and not feral, because when it said the federal government, I got a bit worried there.
Yeah,
It,
just
it's been typed as federal, I can assure you of that.
yeah.
It's accepted. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Walsh. Did you wish to speak?
Oh, just that that minor change actually reflects the information that we had received from Mayor McKenna regarding the response to his letter to the State Premier, Mr. Minns, Premier Minns. So, which also, you know, their response included federal government representatives as well. So, I think that reads that all those that have decision-making power or in this area should be involved there. So thank you.
Thank you. Further speakers?
I believe
Yep.
Councillor
Yes,
Lamont
Councillor
first.
Lamont. You've already spoken. But
Thank you. This is actually a suggested amendment.
yes.
I think we have been provided a legal briefing on where council stands with all of this, but I think it's very important in the interest of transparency and for every other reason, because it does affect the entire Central Coast, on the legal ramifications of the actions that we're suggesting, and also looking at the positive covenants that are actually on some of the titles of properties in Wamberal. I just think the community needs to know, get a clear picture of if we do anything, if we don't do anything, the different legislation that is involved with each one. I think the community needs to have a clear picture on all that, because we're making decisions on behalf of the community, but they really need to understand what we've been advised and what we're dealing with, because it does affect all of us. I know it's only like 65 houses in Wamberal, and there's probably a number of units in North Entrance, and we're not talking about the emergency issues with Tuggerah Lakes, although I think they should definitely be included there as well. But I think
Sorry, Councillor Lamont. Didn't you say you wanted to tweak an amendment or words to that effect?
I'd like to include with the.
Well,
I'd like to include in the original resolution that council provides a legal briefing position or legal. I'm just trying to think of the right wording because I haven't had time to word this. Legal position of council actions in regards to all of this, whether the actions and what is being suggested. If anyone can think of a way of improving what I'm trying to write, I'd be very happy to hear from anyone. But I think in the interest of transparency, we need to provide that to the public. So it provides a legal position of council's actions in regards to actions that are being proposed. And
Councillor Daniels.
And the legal position if actions are not taken.
Sorry, is it a legal position paper to councillors?
No, it's basically to the community. I think we have to come clean with the community.
What about Councillor Lamont? You do a bit more work on it and I'll come back to you.
Okay. It's just about hard from listening because I can't see what's going on.
No, I mean, I think it is a genuine amendment that you'll be able to put, but I just think we need to clarify what it is exactly you're saying, because I'm like Councillor Smith, I think I'm a bit confused by what it is you're trying to achieve.
Okay, thank you, Deputy Mayor. I can do that.
Councillor Stanton, I would say, councillors, that we're very close to running out of time for debate on this matter.
Can I propose a change to our motion?
Well, I've given the call to Councillor Stanton, Councillor Daniels. If she wants to yield.
Yes, I would just like to propose two amendments. to the motion.
Mhm.
That where it's referencing Wombrel and North Entrance, that this be extended to be across Central Coast beaches, and an extra point is included which calls on the Minister for Emergency Services to issue a natural disaster declaration in respect of Tuggerah Lakes flooding in May 2025.
So in item 1,
As a fourth point.
you're saying Central Coast beaches is instead of Womble and North Entrance, is that right?
Correct. Across Central Coast beaches.
Right. And 4 calls on
The Minister for Emergency Services to issue a natural disaster declaration in respect of Tuggerah Lakes flooding in May 2025.
Okay. The movers accepting that variation? I'm getting nods, yes. All right. Well, that becomes the current motion on the floor. Do you want to speak to it, Councillor Stanton?
Yes, thank you. Just briefly, I think it's important that we extend this to include Central Coast beaches because there are other parts of our amazing LGA that are incredibly impacted by coastal erosion as well. This includes Blue Bay and Tawoon Bay, and I fear that this will continue down the coast further, and I think it's important that if we're going to call on the Premier to enact action, we need to ensure that this encompasses all of our beaches. In terms of point 4, we all know the state of emergency truly that occurred in the past 2 weeks in Tuggerah Lakes. In terms of the flooding, we had entire suburbs that were completely flooded in, homes ruined, people could not get through their properties, could not drive in and out. The management of Tuggerah Lakes needs to be evaluated, but I think in the meantime, it's very important that we call on the issuance of this natural disaster declaration, which would allow these impacted communities to receive funding.
Thank you. Councillor Daniels?
Yeah, just note that it's all getting very messy with all the different amendments and foreshadowed everything. So I just would like to offer to incorporate a few points from the others into our first motion. So yes to Councillor Stanton's amendment, and then to incorporate the point, Kyle's point. Sorry, I can't see the writing. Sorry, Councillor McGregor, where it requests the urgent meeting with the Premier.
So paragraph 2 you want to put in as item...
As point 5 now, I believe. Is
5,
that
yes,
right?
that's right. Okay.
Councillor McQuaid, are you happy with that?
So is Councillor McQuaid happy with that? All right.
So I believe that covers most things. We're calling on emergency services, which is what Councillor Neal wanted. And we're adding Councillor McGregor's point. I'm not sure if there's anything else anybody wanted to add or change.
Thank you.
It's not the Emergency Services Minister, it's the local Emergency Services Committee.
No, but I think, and I'll get clarification through the staff, the paragraph point 4 is actually saying a natural disaster declaration, which is different to a state emergency declaration, and therefore I think it probably is the right minister, but I'm happy to get clarification.
It's not.
If I can clarify.
The Premier acts on the advice of the local emergency committee. He has the power.
Councillor Neal, you haven't got the call. Councillor Neal, I do have the power to switch you off. You do not have the call.
I've had my hand up for 10 minutes and you haven't recognised me.
Well, if you hadn't been so bothersome earlier on, I might have done that. Mr. Farmer.
Sorry, just to clarify, that point 1 is a state of emergency, which is called by the Premier. It's a different action to a natural disaster declaration with different powers in number 4. So they have some similarities and they have some overlap, but they are different. And we talked about that last night in the briefing.
Thank you. Councillor Castles. Yes, Councillor Castles, but we are effectively out of time, councillors. But Councillor Castles.
Sorry, Deputy Mayor, I wasn't quite finished. I just wanted to check if the staff, like the legal
Oh,
team,
sorry,
are happy.
Councillor Daniels.
I wanted to check with the legal team if they're happy with that wording.
All right, thank you. Councillor Castles.
Yes, look, just a question through you, Acting Mayor. Obviously, the business of this meeting was actually, as an extraordinary, was coastal erosion at Womberall and North Entrance. Of course, I recognise very clearly about Tuggerah Lakes flooding, etc. I'm completely aware of all of those things, but I'm just through you wondering whether we have strayed a little far off the actual business that was actually identified as the extraordinary meeting business. My understanding of an extraordinary meeting is that you deal with the business that is actually identified, that you don't stray into sort of broadening it out to, say, other areas. I'm not saying there's not a place for that, but I'm questioning through you whether the place is this extraordinary meeting, coastal erosion at Womberall and North Entrance.
Thank you, Councillor Castles. That's a very good question. So 5.34 says that business may be considered an extraordinary meeting of council, even though due notice of the business has not been given, if a motion is passed to have the business considered at the meeting and the business is ruled, to be considered is ruled by the chairperson to be of great urgency on the grounds that it requires a decision by council before the next scheduled ordinary meeting of council. So it's a matter, I think, for council. I'd be happy to rule that the other issues that are certainly related are also of great urgency and therefore can be debated.
Yeah, if I can speak to it too, Mr. Mayor. You know, obviously.
What about the other people who are waiting?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, Councillor Neal and Councillor Lamont, I will come back to Councillor Lamont, I promised I would do that. I'm sorry, I get confused because I've got ones on the screen and one's on the other screen, so
yeah.
I'm trying to balance that up. Yes, I will go to Councillor Wright and then I'll go to Councillor Lamont, and then we need to finish.
In fairness as well, it's supposed to be one speaker, one speech per motion, so I think I'm within my rights to speak. Look, I think we can debate the technicality.
I haven't spoken yet.
I don't think anyone would agree with that comment. But
it was a procedural motion.
I'm trying to speak, Councillor Neal, if that's okay. So, look, a lot of these communities, particularly along Tuggerah Lakes and, you know, some of these other beaches as well, we keep seeing the photos and the drone footages. So I don't know why council would want to deny the rights to some people and provide it to others. You know, these people are really hurting right now, and I can't see why we'd want to take this opportunity away from them.
Can I move a procedural motion? I've been waiting for 10 minutes to do so.
Sorry, was that it, Councillor? Thank you, Councillor Wright. Councillor Lamont, I said I'd come to you. And for the avoidance of doubt, I will put up at a procedural motion that the items about Central Coast beaches and Tuggerah Lakes flooding be considered as of great urgency. So I will move so that then there's no doubt about whether the motion is in order or not. I'll move that. It is procedural, so it doesn't need a seconder. So
I'll second it.
It's procedural. It doesn't need a seconder, but that's thank you.
You don't require one.
Thank you. So I'll put that, which is simply the motion. Simply is that the business in relation to the Central Coast beaches and Tuggerah Lakes is considered to be of great urgency. All those in favour?
Mr. Mayor, could you just clarify? Just give some substance to your suggestion of great urgencies.
It's a procedural motion, so it's not debated.
I was just asking for some clarification.
Councillor Smith, if you don't like it, vote against it by all means. So those in favour of it being ruled as great urgency, please raise your hand. Councillor Millen, Councillor Daniels, Councillor Stanton, Councillor Wright, Councillor McNamara, Councillor McQuaid, Councillor Eaton and Councillor McKenna. I don't think so. And against, Councillor Castles, Councillor Crowley, Councillor Walsh, Councillor Smith, Councillor McGregor,
Like proper
I can't see any
briefing
other
on it
votes.
before we make decisions.
I declare that carried. We're out of time, councillors.
I have a procedural
So I will
motion,
say I'll come to Councillor Mont next, which is what I promised.
I have a procedural motion that should have been taken before your procedural motion.
I will come to you, Councillor Neal, but I said I will come to Councillor Lamont next. Yes, Councillor Lamont.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I just wanted to provide that amendment, and it is that council provides the community a legal position / duties / ramifications on acting or not acting on what impacted property owners are requesting from council. Because I see even tonight, this isn't part of it, where there's a legal implication with us even actually talking about this tonight, and I'd really like to know where we all stand.
Okay, but who is it providing this advice to?
To the community, sorry, provides the legal to the community.
Right, to the community. All right, thank you.
I just believe we have to be transparent.
Is there a seconder for that? No, it lapses for one of a second. I'll come to you, Councillor Neal.
Yes. Sorry, I think you missed the fact that Councillor McGregor waved his hand to second the motion. You're obviously not looking at the screen.
Anyone see that? I missed it. Councillor Neal, what was your point of order?
Well, firstly, just to say that Councillor McGregor did second the motion, so he should take the motion. Secondly, I'd like to move an extension of debate for this motion or the group of motions for 30 minutes. Contrary to what's been suggested, I have not yet spoken on the substantive motion, either in opposition to the debate or in relation to any other amendments. I have not spoken. And nor have many other people who wish to speak and have obviously strong views. This is a matter that is of great importance. I agree. I think everyone in the room agrees. It's been rushed on in circumstances where I'm extremely fearful that the best motion and solution is not being determined by this council. It's always very tempting to play politics. It's very tempting to score points in a situation like this and to take advantage, but this has been rushed through. Most of the final motion that was sent by the movers of the motion, I didn't receive till I think 25 minutes before this meeting started. And the motion that's actually been put up on the screen is different from the motion that I received 25 minutes before the meeting started. I just think we are not making the decision in the best way we can. So I think I would like to move firstly that the debate be extended by 30 minutes, or alternatively that we adjourn the meeting or lay the motions on the table at this stage and continue the debate at the next meeting, which is scheduled.
Thank you, Councillor Neal.
What was the emergency meeting? Because we're just not dealing with it properly.
Thank you.
It's quite scandalous.
There is no provision in the Code of Meeting Practice to extend the meeting unless the motion was moved before the meeting started, and that didn't happen. So
no, I'm extending the time for debate.
No, you can't do that either. We're already over time. So I'll ask the debate to be closed. Councillor McQuaid is the mover. Do you speak?
Mr. Deputy Mayor, have you had any speakers formally against the motion?
No.
It doesn't matter. We're out of time under the Code of Meeting Practice.
Yes,
At the end of time, I must call on the mover of the motion to close the debate and then put it to the vote. So, Councillor McQuaid.
Deputy Mayor, sorry, there's a mistake in that it hasn't included to the community at the end of my amendment. Well, that council provides a legal position duties to the community. That's it. Thank you. Thank you very much. And I did speak in opposition.
Thank you.
Just so everyone knows.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Councillor McQuaid, can you close the debate? Thank you. All right, there is only one motion before us, if we can bring it back on the screen. And no, that wasn't, I ruled that out. It wasn't seconded. Yeah. No, I didn't accept that. It wasn't seconded. So there is only one motion. No, that is the motion. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll give everyone a chance to study it so that you know what you're voting on.
How about my amendment, just so I can understand what happens?
I ruled that out, Councillor Lamont, as I didn't. I don't believe it was seconded before I ruled it out.
I think Carl McGregor did. It was up listed on the screen that Carl McGregor actually did second the amendment.
Councillor Lamont, I've made a ruling, and
the
debate has been closed. We're going to put the motion.
I also attempted to second that motion.
Well, I'm sorry, councillors, you do have to do it in a reasonable amount of time, and I'd ruled it out before it was seconded.
I did do it at the time.
Councillors,
I put my hand up immediately.
I mean, really?
No.
This is a shambles.
No. So I'm going to put the motion that is before us 1 to 5.
I think we should walk out.
If that fails, then there are 2 foreshadowed motions that can be put, one after the other. So the motion is 1 to 5 as shown on the screen. Those in favour of the motion, please raise your hand. Councillor. Well, let's read it again. I'm happy to give you time to read it.
Mr. Mayor, just a question, just making sure that Ms. Councillor Stanton's amendment was seconded. Like, did you notice that happen?
It was a variation that was accepted by the movers and the seconder.
So that was noticed, but mine, it wasn't noticed when someone tried to second mine.
Yes. Okay, do we know what we're voting on now? And Councillor Lamont, I'll say to you, since it would appear there is likely to be an extraordinary meeting next Tuesday, by all means put your motion up to that meeting. All right, are we ready to vote now? All right, all those in favour of the motion, please raise your hand. Councillor Eaton, Councillor Daniels, Councillor Stanton, Councillor Wright, Councillor Merlin, Councillor McNamara, Councillor McQuaid and Councillor McKenna against. Councillor Councillor Smith, Councillor Castles, Councillor Crowley, Councillor Walsh, Councillor Smith, Councillor Lamont, Councillor McGregor, Councillor Neal. I declare the motion carried and I declare the meeting closed.
I'm abstaining.
I declare the meeting. Oh, sorry.
Mayor, Mr.
All right.
Mayor,
You're Councillor Neal is sustaining. I declare the meeting closed at 4:57. Thank you, Councillor.